In this lesson, I want to talk about transactions. Salesforce states a transaction as a set of operations that are executed as a single unit. All DML operations in a transaction either complete successfully, or if an error occurs in one operation, the entire transaction is rolled back and no data is committed to the database. This also applies for calls that are made from the transaction boundary to external code, such as classes or triggers that get fired as a result of code running in the transaction boundary. So what does that mean? Let's say that I have a process builder on an account. I update the account and it fires that process builder, which then creates a case, and that case has a trigger on it, which then, based on that case, will create a task. And that task has a record trigger flow, which will then update the task, and it will fire off a validation rule. That whole chain of events is a transaction. So the transaction is everything that occurs, not just that process builder that gets fired. That won't be one transaction, or that trigger on the case. That won't be another transaction. This full thing is going to be one transaction. So that's something to know, that when we're talking about transactions that occur based on process builders, triggers, flows, anything that occurs, it's going to then encompass everything else that occurs from that happening. So all the events that transpire from it. And this becomes very important to know when we start talking about governor limits.